Hi, my name is John Davison. I'm co-founder of CodeUnion.io. In this videocast, I'm going to be quickly teaching people how to use CodeUnion's open source repositories in conjunction with the Cloud9 development environment so that you can do browser-based coding. And I'll talk a little bit about how you can show up to our meetups and get feedback on your code and learn all kinds of other good stuff. In order to work on this code base and get feedback on your code, you're going to need a reasonably functional development environment. If you don't have a reasonably functional development environment, that's okay. I'm actually going to demonstrate how to use the Cloud9 IDE to basically bypass the need to set up a local development environment. And Cloud9 actually has an extremely useful browser-based, fully functional, built on Linux development environment that has Ruby, and it also has Git already installed. So that being said, let's head over to Cloud9. If you don't have an account, go ahead and register for an account. I'm going to go ahead and sign in using my CodeUnion credentials. So once you've successfully signed in, the first thing you're actually going to want to do is create a new workspace. You're going to be given the option, create a new workspace or clone from URL. So let's actually, let's clone from URL, right? And the URL that we're going to provide is actually the link to the CodeUnion open source Kata repository. I can literally copy it from my browser bar, paste it into this interface, push create. It will take it a moment or two for Cloud9 to grab all the code and prepare the environment. So once the environment is prepared, literally click the Start Editing button. And here we are inside Cloud9's IDE. I'm going to go ahead and close out some of these other windows because we don't need them. If you'll notice, if I type the Unix ls command, we literally have the code from the CodeUnion open source Kata repository already loaded. You might also be interested to know that we already have Ruby and we also have Git, although we're not going to be using Git too much in this tutorial. It's still useful to know that we have it. So really, the crux of CodeUnion's open source Kata are actually literally contained in these files, right? If I expand the Series A folder, you'll notice that I have this long list of files. Something you want to be aware of is that we actually recommend doing these problems in a specific order. If I go back to the open source Kata homepage on GitHub and I scroll down, you'll see that we actually have a list. So the first file that we're going to do is max.rb, and in this tutorial we'll do max.rb, we'll do min.rb, and we'll do longeststring.rb. So let's go ahead and do max.rb. And to do that, literally, I'm going to open the max.rb file, and there's a ton of commentary in here. I advise you to read every single line. If you read something and it doesn't make sense, of course, email me, john@codeunion.io, or email hello@codeunion.io, or you can also email stuck@codeunion.io, and we'll help explain things. So actually, the max method is already built for you, right? Because this is max method is max.rb is mostly a tutorial. Here we have some commentary. Let's go to back to our command line environment, and let's actually run max.rb. So we need to actually be in the directory that we care about. So let's cd series A. And then let's try this again, ruby max.rb. And notice we get a bunch of trues printed out to the screen. Those trues correspond to these lines of code inside the max.rb file. We call these rumble strips. It's an opportunity for us to test our code. Literally on line 43, we're printing the return value of max given a list of integers, and we're ensuring that the return value is equal to 3. So in the case that the return value wasn't equal to 3, we'd get a false. And to demonstrate this, I'll say max of 1, 2, 3 is equal to 4, save that, then go back to the browser, or excuse me, go back to the terminal, rerun the file, and notice now we get a false condition, although we don't really want that code in there because literally if I pass the integers 1, 2, 3 to the max method, I do not expect to get the number 4 back. I expect to get the number 3 back just as written on line 43. Okay, perfect. So that finishes out max.rb. Let's do min.rb. Here I am opening min.rb. So min.rb has is slightly less built out, and I'm literally just going to complete this kata. I'm going to set a variable, and I'm going to call it min so far, and I'm going to set it equal to list.first, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to iterate through the list.each, and each time I iterate through the list, I'm going to call each element inside my array item, right? And lines 18 and 20 are where we actually write the code in our method that actually really does the processing and is the logic. So let's say that if item is less than min so far, then we're going to set min so far actually to item, right? And then once we finished our loop, we are actually going to return min so far, right? So I'm going to save that, and notice we have some rumble strips down here, right? Notice on line 20, if I pass min an array of integers 1, 2, and 3, based on the code that I've written, hopefully we expect to get 1 back, right? Let's head back to the terminal. Let's go ahead and ruby min.rb, and there we have a bunch of true conditions, which means our method is good to go. Okay, so that's min and max. Let's do longest string together. Here I am opening longest string, and notice longest string doesn't have any code written at all. So these katas are going to get progressively harder, and we're going to give you progressively less guidance. So I have a pretty good idea how to do longest string. It's very similar to min and max. It's slightly different. So let's just say longest so far equals list.first, right? And then let's do something like list.each do, and each time we loop through our array, each element can be referred to as item, and we'll say that if item.length is greater than longest so far .length, then we're actually going to set longest so far equal to the item, right? Let's finish our if statement, and then let's close our block, and we want to make sure that we return longest so far back to whoever calls the method. And let's go ahead and create our own rumble strips. So let's do p longest string, and let's pass in an array of strings. So we'll do something like waffles, we'll do like really long waffles, and we'll do ultimate waffles. So I think really long waffles is actually the longest array. or excuse me, the longest string. So let's do our double equals operator to check. Let's paste in really long waffles. Let's save this. Now let's actually go back to our command line and let's run Ruby longest string, and notice we get a return value of true. Let's go ahead and write a slightly more succinct method call, and let's just let's pass in the string A and the string ABC and the string ABCD, right? And so I think we can pretty much safely assume that we believe the return value of this method call to be ABCD. So now we would expect to get true printed to the screen twice, assuming my code is correct and my rumble strips were correct. Okay, and there you have it. We got true returned twice. Now, the next in line is shortest string, and we build all the way up in series A to hot or cold. The series B kata get reasonably harder, right? Factorial and Fibonacci tend to be challenging, as is the Pig Latin method. So that is a bit of a high-level look at how you can actually use CodeUnion's open source kata in the Cloud9 IDE. Now, if you actually want to work through these kata and you want to get really rich interactive feedback from me, you could literally show up to one of my meetups, right? The next one I have scheduled is for Tuesday morning at Contraband at 8 a.m., but I'll be hosting these 2 to 3 times a week at coffee shops throughout San Francisco. If you're watching this video and you're like, hey, I can't come to San Francisco, that's cool. Join the meetup, and when I'm at those meetups, I will also have a Cloud9 instance open, and you can enter into my Cloud9 instance and we can work together. So literally, you do not have to be in San Francisco to participate in my educational meetup. Literally, you see this meetup, this Cloud9 workspace right here. It's actually posted in the meetup, right? Here we have the link to the workspace. Literally, all you need to do is join the meetup and be in the Cloud9 workspace at the time the meetup is going on, and no matter what coffee shop I happen to be in, I will still teach you. And I'm an expert at remote pair programming. I've been doing it for like 2.5 years now. I've got, I don't know, thousands of hours logged, like literally probably 2,000 or 3,000 hours of remote pair programming time logged since 2012, maybe more, I don't know. I spend a frightening amount of time remote pair programming. So like, if you're not in San Francisco, don't worry, join the meetup group, clone the repository, follow this tutorial, get cracking inside Cloud9. If you have any problems or questions or concerns or comments, you can reach me personally, john@codeunion.io, or you can email us hello@codeunion.io, and we will try to help you move farther on down the journey. Okay, that feels like a wrap. I don't have anything else to say. I'm John Davison, co-founder of CodeUnion.io. Happy coding.